What is going down, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Got the new threads on for this video. But anyways, so we have some NFL news that broke yesterday. I did not get a chance to make a video on this. I was busy all day yesterday doing stuff, so I decided that I'm going to make the video now. But Jason Garrett, former Cowboys head coach, has been hired on Joe Judge's staff with the New York Giants as the new New York Giant offensive coordinator. The first pretty much big hire for Joe Judge. This is the thing. I want to have a problem with this hire because of how bad Jason Garrett is just as a head coach in general. But maybe his play calling is... Now, I don't really know how Jason Garrett does when it comes to play calling, but he's not that good of a head guy. He may do good. I think that job right there, Joe Judge's hire, I think that's a 50-50 to work out. And I think it's because Jason Garrett not necessarily doing that well with the Cowboys when he was there for forever. Yes, he's had playoff experience and stuff, but they've won like 2 playoff games within the past decade or some crazy stat like that. So Jason Garrett really did not do that much for the Cowboys. And I think that when I made a video on the Cowboys firing Jason Garrett, I said in that video that I could see Jason Garrett getting a gig for, an offensive coordinator job or something along the lines of that. Maybe like a vice president of football operations, something like that. Or executive vice president of football operations. I figured he would get like a job like that or an offensive coordinator job, and he gets the offensive coordinator job. He's staying in the NFC East, and he's going to the Giants to work with Danny Dimes and Saquon Barkley and some of the playmakers over there. So for this hire, I would give it probably a C, anywhere from like a C to a C+. The reason I'm giving this so low is because Jason Garrett is not a coach I would have picked to hire on my staff. I don't care if it's an offensive coordinator position. I don't care if it's EVP. I don't care what it is. I don't think Jason Garrett is a good coach in general. Now, like I said, this is a 50-50 hire for me. I think this could really work out or this could really fail. And I'm like in the middle because I just don't really know how well Jason Garrett can work with a team as bad as the Giants. Now, here's the thing. Jason Garrett had a Super Bowl quote-unquote team before, the Cowboys started the season just this past year, or just this season. He said it was like the best roster they've had in a very long time, and it was a Super Bowl roster, and la-da-da-da-da-da. Well, you didn't even make the playoffs, and your team was pretty stacked. The Cowboys have a really, really good football team. Their defense is really good. Dak Prescott can be good with the good, coach behind him. I think Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott is a great combination. I think Dak Prescott will progress instead of regress next season. So, but yeah, he worked with the Cowboys and he had a stacked roster and he went 8-8. So maybe with Joe Judge, being the overall head coach and him just play calling, maybe that would work better for Jason Garrett moving forward, until he can maybe get a head coach job within the near future. But as for this move in general, I think, like I said, I think it's a 50-50. I think it could fail really bad, and I think it could go really well. And I think it just depends on how well Jason Garrett play, that is what it depends on. How well Jason Garrett can, call plays and how well they do with, Daniel Jones and that offense. So we'll see how I'm kind of interested to see what the Giants offense will rank stat-wise for next season, because I would expect the Giants to be at least a top 15 offense next year. Well, I don't really know, man. It just depends on how the draft works out. I can't really say much because the team they have now is going to be much different than the team they have next year. But who knows? I mean, maybe if they can bring in key assets in the offseason, to help out with that offense, to help out with the defense, maybe, they could make some noise, but it's going to depend on how well Daniel Jones can do with Jason Garrett. And if there's a rocky relationship between the two, it's going to fail. But if Daniel Jones believes in Jason Garrett and Jason Garrett kind of, proves that, I'm your leader, just trust me. If Jason Garrett can get Daniel Jones to kind of trust him, I think it could go well. But it's got to happen first. And I don't really know how Giants players feel about Jason Garrett. I don't really know if there's any bad blood between players on the Giants. I don't really know how they feel about Jason Garrett as a whole, but all I can tell you is that he is the new offensive coordinator. So whether they like it or not, they're going to have to kind of they're just going to have to take it. But as for Jason Garrett, I think this was a good move for his future. I think with him kind of regressing and being an offensive coordinator now, I think that could open up chances for him becoming a head coach, within the near future. But time will tell on that. But as for Jason Garrett now, he's taking the job for the New York Giants. He will be the Giants' new offensive coordinator. Let me know what you guys think of this in the comment section down below. Do you guys think this was a good hire? Do you think it was a bad hire? Do you think they should have hired somebody else? I think it's 50-50. I think it could go really well. I think it could go really bad. I think it depends on, like I said, if Daniel Jones puts his full trust into Jason Garrett, and Jason Garrett can prove to the Giants team and, Daniel Jones that, he's the right guy in New York, and, his play calling has got to be superb. So we'll see how this pans out. I'm really excited, or I'm really interested to see what the Giants offense will rank next season with under Jason Garrett as the offensive coordinator and calling the plays. But we'll see how it pans out. But until then, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.